Okay, the next concept we will need to understand first, before we can create a proper Android application is called activity. So, an activity is actually an application component that provides a screen with which users can interact in order to do something. Yeah, for example, like dialing the phone, taking a photo, sending an email, viewing a map, or filling in this form. Yeah. This one is called one activity, and we have one activity already created for us. That is the main activity. Each activity then is given a window in which to draw its user interface. It calls the set content view function, then followed by the layout resource. Yeah, so activity is responsible for managing user interactions and other logic and text as well. So here, if you take a look at your main activity class, it is derived or extended for the app compat activity. And then you will have one function already generated for you, which is on create method or create on create function. Yeah. On create function is called when an instance of the activity is created. Yeah, it is where we initialize our activity and perform basic application startup logic. And then uh, at the last line here on the generated on create function, we have set content view function and followed by the resource. Yeah, this is a layout resource that will be created for our application or will be used. Yeah. So now, if you remember at our previous videos, we have created an activity login layout. Yeah. If you want to use this activity login layout for the main activity, then you can change it like this. Yeah, set content view r.layout, change it with activity login. Then if you run your application, you will see nothing. Why? Because our activity login layout is currently empty. Yeah, but now our main activity uses the activity login layout. So that's why you see empty or blank screen on your device or emulator. Yeah, that's how you change the layout for a specific activity. Okay, let's learn about the activity lifecycle in Android. Yeah. An activity usually consists of multiple activities. They are connected loosely bound to each other, and typically an activity in an application is specified as a main activity. Yeah, the main activity is the activity that will be run the first time user opens our application. Then each activity may start another activity in order to perform specific functions or actions. Yeah, as a user explore through, out of, and back to your application, then activity instances will change through various states in this life cycle. Yeah, let's take a look at this life cycle and take a look at the state one by one. The first state is the on create state. Yeah, when the user opens our application, by clicking or tapping the app icon, the Android will try and launch the default activity of that application. Yeah, it is not necessary main activity. Yeah, we can change it later, and we will do so when we learn multi-activity. Yeah, but for now, the default activity is main activity. If success, if Android can launch the default activity, then it is created and the onCreate function is invoked. We can use onCreate function for initializing the user interface, instantiating some variables, and so on. And onCreate function is always called only once in the whole activity life cycle. Yeah, you can think on create functions as constructors, like in OOP. And then after finish the on create function, then Android will start two other functions. Yeah. First one is onStart. This state will make the app visible to user as the app prepares for the activity to enter the foreground and become interactive for our users. And onResum is called when the activity comes to the foreground. And then our application is running. Yeah, the users can interact with our application. Yeah, for example, in this state, now main activity is running right now. When another activity comes into the foreground, then Android calls onPause function. Yeah, it is called when the user switch to the other app. For example, when you play game, if you have a notification on your WhatsApp or on your line, then you open that notification. Yeah, the Android will pause the game and switch to WhatsApp or line. Yeah, your activity in your game will call onPause method. Inside onPause, this should thread function. Yeah, not film. What is it? Yeah, it is typo here. Inside onPause function, we can put some codes to pause the music, stop the animation, etc. When the activity is no longer visible to the user, then onStop function is called. Yeah, we should release almost all resources that are no longer needed. Yeah, while the user is not using our application. And finally, when Android feels that our activity is no longer needed, then onDestroy function is called, yeah, to terminate the app and release all resources used by our app. For multi-activity, we have a backstack concept in Android. Yeah. So each time a new activity starts, the previous activity is stopped, then put into the stack. Yeah. But the system preserves the activity in a stack. We call it backstack. So a new activity starts, it is pushed into the backstack and takes the focus on the user device. So the backstack applies to the basic last in first out stack mechanism. Yeah, that means when the user is done with this active activity and then the user presses the back button, this activity is then destroyed, popped from the stack, yeah, and Android will load or activate the topmost activity on the backstack. Let's take a look at this illustration. Yeah, we have one activity. Yeah, for now, like this one, main activity. The main activity is pushed to the backstack, like this. Yeah, here it is labeled activity 1. Then the user presses the start activity 2. What happens is, yeah, the Android will start activity 2 and pushes this activity to the backstack. Yeah, now activity 1 is idle, is not active because we have activity 2 in the backstack. If we press the activity 3, start activity 3 button, then the backstack will look something like this. Yeah, activity 3 is pushed to the top of the backstack. Now at the activity 3, when the user presses the back key, yeah, then the this box is covering the backstack. Yeah, I'll use this image. Yeah, the activity 3 will be popped from the backstack and it is destroyed. So it results in the backstack to be activity 2 and activity 1. So Android will activate activity 2. That's why on the screen activity 2 is displayed on the user screen. Yeah, this is how the backstack works in Android. Okay, that's all about activities we need to know right now. Yeah, the last concept we need to learn is about listener. Yeah, this one is actually similar with the listener in other event-driven programming like in C# and in Java. But let's take a look at how the listener works in Android. Yeah, we will learn about the listener in the next video.